What's up, everybody? Eric with Secondary Machine. Today I am out in the shop and it's become really quite clear to me that I just cannot leave well enough alone. So this was supposed to be like my forever lathe. I finally decided that, you know what, I could downsize to an Atlas Craftsman. This 12 is fine for the stuff I do, hobby stuff. Like the other shop, I sold both of the big tools. The big lathe out there and the mill are gone. Paid for, gone, right? This machine, which I just finished getting this fixed, had it for well over a year, needed the gears made, which we did on the 8520, which was a fun little project. This is a nice lathe. Like, I've got all kinds of stuff for it. This was supposed to be the one I'm keeping paired with this, and that's going to be my home hobby machine shop, right? Well, yeah. Then I wasn't even looking for a lathe, honest to God. Well, that's a lie. I'm always looking for a lathe because if there's a good deal to be had, like, yeah, you know, I've never had a South Bend. I've always wanted it, and I've actually kind of been keeping my eyes open for a nice little South Bend. And this pops up yesterday. First thing, I wake up in the morning, I'm drinking my coffee. It's like 5 a.m. and I'm on Marketplace, of course. This pops up for about, like, realistically, even if this one was haggard, it was half of what it was actually worth. And so I see the ad and I'm like, oh, I'll buy that. And so I start, I decide, I'm going to buy this. I send the guy a message. Then I read the rest of the posting, and he says he can't even show it until next Monday, which is still 2 days out from now. And so I'm like kind of bummed because I know the price that he's got this at, like, there's going to be a lot of interest in this lathe. And sure enough, like, he gets back to me, right? And he says, hey, if you can be here by 9 o'clock, we'll do it today. This is yesterday, Friday, right? And I'm thinking I have to wait till Monday to even have a chance at it. And I'm like, boom, I'm on it, man. I've even got the cash here at the house. I can come now. And he's like, all right, come on over. So I get over there with the cash, and there's this sweet little lathe sitting there. This is a South Bend 10K, which in my mind for a hobby work is perfect. Like, this is what, it's a vintage tool. This is a way better tool than any Atlas. Like, absolutely no question in my mind, so long as it's in good shape, which this one's in phenomenal shape. I'll show you that in a minute. But what really makes this deal sweet is everything that it came with, because that's always the question is, what kind of tooling is it going to come with? This lathe is not only never been messed with, all original paint, everything on it, absolutely nothing missing, but it came with everything that I would, except it didn't come with a taper attachment. I would have liked to have had a taper attachment, but look at this. At the collet set. It looks like it's missing collets, but it's not. It's actually, you get everything in the kit from 1/16 to 1/2 inch in increments that you'll actually use. And if you want to add to that, like 7/64 here, you got a place to store it. So got the original South Bend 3-jaw. We got the 4-jaw. We got both of the guard covers. Your typical lathe operation book. Nice copy of it. I've got other copies of this book, of course, but this one looks absolutely stellar. It looks brand new. Got a couple of the South Bend catalogs. Where's the other book? Of course, came with How to Run a Lathe. Once again, like, beautiful copy of it. Got the milling attachment. Got the steady rest. Got the follow rest. Some basic tooling. Came with a lantern style post. Didn't come with the little wedge guy that goes in the saddle, though. That's been lost somewhere. If you can tell me what this is, this little V-block thing, I would appreciate it. I'm not sure exactly what you do with this. Same with, this looks like it came off of a turret style tailstock, but, and it's made in Seattle according to what it says on the side of it someplace. Let me see if I can find it. There's a manufacturer thing on it and someplace. I can't find it now. But if you know what this is, tell me what it is. I believe it goes to a turret style, but I don't understand how you would get the use of all the different tooling on there. So, but there is there's a number that I could look up. Where is it? Yeah, I got to move on. Yeah, so anyway, if you know what that is, let me know. So the manufacturer's name is on there. Maybe I can look it up and try to figure out what it is. But this one is loaded with stuff, and all this stuff's in just beautiful shape. Like, I kind of would normally kind of consider the smaller South Bend stuff to be on par with the Atlas Craftsman stuff, but it's really not. This stuff's nicer. It's like, this is way heavier. Dragging this in here from the truck, it's immediately evident. Like, this weighs more than that does by a long shot. This is a lot harder to move. It's just nicer stuff. It doesn't have the flat ways like that, which honestly, I could live with flat ways if I had to, but I don't have to now. And so this is going to get sold down the road. I'm going to pair this with a bunch of tooling. That's another thing. My Kennedy box that was in here, I ended up just, I was helping the guy get the other big tools out of there. He bought the lathe and mill both as a package, which was nice. And I just came in here and emptied out. This wasn't a Kennedy box. It was actually a Proto that looks like a smaller Kennedy box. Real nice box. But I asked him, hey, do you have a machinist box? I've got a bunch of stuff. So he said, no, he didn't have one. So I just kind of emptied that out and threw it in. But I'm going to be bringing all of my Kennedy box stuff from out in the other shop into this room. And they're just chock full of tools. So I didn't necessarily need that. So I just kind of threw it in as a last minute thing for him. I'm cleaning this bench off. I almost bought a really nice $500 tooling cart for this lathe yesterday, and then ended up deciding not to do it. I didn't want to jump on doing that until I've got this set up and I know exactly what I want to do. This bench is nice and thick. My first lathe was on a rolling cart, and I always thought, to bump up to this, I always thought it was an upgrade to go to having the underdrive and the cabinet. I mean, it looks really awesome, but it's not everything it's cracked up to be. You part something off on this machine and it sounds like World War III, like just loud. Like, I like a really nice, quiet machine. The underdrive with the motor inside of it is not quiet, and like, you go to part something and all that metal, like, it's just not a quiet tool. This will be so much better on this bench. I know, I thought for a long time underdrive would be like a come up, but for me personally, I don't think that it is. And so I think I'm really going to enjoy having this little South Bend on the thick bench. Is actually going to be a lot better. It'll be a lot more quiet running. And so anyway, this is going to go down the road. I see a lot of these and they've got a lot larger dial. The only real drawback to this, actually there's two. I would like to have the lever instead of the star drive. I've never done the star drive to engage the cross feed and stuff. So this will be new to me. I think I can change this to a lever type. I can build something. I really like having larger dials, and everyone I've seen all have larger dials. So I think this is probably an older model. This came out in 1950. If I'm reading the serial number correctly, what I've understood is that you can tell the year when it was manufactured by the serial number. And so what I'm reading here, I think it might have been made 27 of 57, but gauged on what I'm seeing with these smaller dials, I have a feeling that that's maybe not correct. But I don't know when they went to the larger, easier to read dials. A lot of the pictures I'm seeing anyway, they have larger dials and stuff available. I'm probably going to end up putting a DRO on this, and it's not going to matter anyway. And the truth is, these are totally legible. It's just nice to have larger ones where they're easier to read. This 4-jaw actually goes to that machine. I just stuck it on here to see if it was swinging or not. So this is a 10, and the Atlas here is a 12. Now, that's another thing. I always assumed, a 12 would be better, but I don't think honestly it is, because most of the time you don't need that extra swing. And the further you come out from the ways, anytime you're turning stuff, I just feel like it's a liability, because the further you get away from the ways, the more opportunity, the more leverage you're going to get on that saddle and stuff, and the more opportunity you're going to have for stuff to flex. I think this is honestly the better tool, unless of course you ended up in a position where you absolutely have to be able to swing more. But the truth is 99.9% of the time, you're probably going to swing what you need to swing on a 10, and you're just going to have more rigidity in it. And so honestly, I feel, but then if you end up in a position where you really got to swing 12, well, you can't do it on that now, can you? So, but most of the time, I think you're gonna be able to get away with it on there, and not need this. And you know what? I think this tool is going to be more rigid. Actually, I know it's going to be more rigid because it doesn't have the flat ways, and everything is closer to the ways. So, anyhow, I've been kind of baffled. I've never owned anything with flat belt. Like, how in the hell do you get this shaft out of here? I finally figured it out. Like, I'm looking at this and I'm like, do you use a puller? Turns out that there's just a little set screw down in here. And when you undo the set screw, the whole shaft just pops right out of there. So putting this back together is going to be pretty easy. Whoever took it apart, the guy I bought this from, that's another thing, is I always like to know the history. So what he told me when I asked him, do you know the history of the tool? Because if I can know the history, I definitely want to know it. This was in the maintenance area for a Seattle-based, Seattle area radio station. Think about that, like how much is a Seattle-based radio station going to use a metal lathe for maintenance, right? So that's where it came from. But the guy I got it from, he never even ran it. Like, when they moved it from the radio station, somebody clipped the cord off of the back here. Actually, I pulled it out of the hole, but there was just a nub here. It was at a radio station, and then he bought it and never installed it, which kind of made me nervous when I went to look at it, because I was like, why did he, after he bought it, decide not to run it? What did he find that was wrong with it, right? That caused him to not want to bother, that, maybe he's looking to move on to something else. Literally, the only thing I can find wrong with this is the back gear. I forget what this gear is called. It's called something else. This is actually the back gear, I believe. We're minus a tooth on here. I can get this gear on eBay right now for 50 bucks. But the truth is, it's just one gear, and it'll actually run as is. So it's not that big of a deal, but I will replace that. I'll order one up probably on Monday morning, and get cracking on that. But no other broken teeth or anything. And like, literally everything on this is just absolutely crisp. Like, it doesn't appear to have ever really been run. I was looking at this oiler, some of the pictures they have too, and I'm like, how in the hell do they oil this whole thing off of just this? There must be wicks in there running to everything else for it to possibly work. I flipped it up on its back to look up under there, and you would not believe what I saw under there. Every gear in this box looks absolutely brand new. There wasn't a single chip up in there. Same with the cross slide. Like, I moved the cross slide all the way out and pulled it off. Usually you'll find some chips down in there from people running air around the machine. No chips in there at all. Like, and I just literally could not believe how good of shape this. I've had a bunch of stuff with these quick change boxes, and I've never had a quick change box that's in as good a shape as this one. Like, I was blown away when I flipped it back at what I saw. Just trying to figure out, and I still never did figure out exactly how you, from one port, get oil to all the oil light bearing surfaces that I just don't know. But anyway, evidently that's how you maintain it. But this tool is in just absolutely stellar condition. I'm blown away at how nice it is. And like I said, I wasn't necessarily looking to buy a different lathe. I always wanted a small South Bend. And when this popped up, I just, no question, I'm going to go and grab it, right? But this was honestly supposed to be it. Like, I would have been content to run this. But the noise is horrific. Like, I don't want to listen to this tool run, honestly. But it's going to make a nice tool for somebody else. I've got a smaller Kennedy cart that I'm going to fill up with tooling for this and just sell it off. Like, somebody else can enjoy it. What this shop needs is time. Here's the new DRO for the 8520. All I need now is time to install it, and I'm off and going on a completely different project, right? Same with this is I got this off of eBay. This is the adapter that's going to go on the end of here so that I can run that the power cross feed. That's a real deal servo over there. It's going to go really nice on the end of this, and I finally have the parts to do it. I just don't have the time right now. I've got a big job going out on Whidbey Island right now, so I'm working out there making some money. When that's done, I'll have some more shop time, and I'll be able to work on some of these side projects. But now I'm off and going on this. I'm going to go out to the other shop and get the crane and get this up on here and try to get it running today. Maybe I'll do a second part later on today of this machine running. But in the meantime, Eric with Secondary Machine, I'll let you guys go and talk to you later.